don't make the mistake of thinking that credit score is the most important thing when applying for a mortgage, okay? Actually, I'm going to give you right now the top 5 things that you need to consider, and credit score is number 5. It's way at the bottom, and I'm going to explain why here in just a second. So number 1 is you want to develop a budget. Before you even go out and look at the first house, call a real estate agent, or even apply for a mortgage, you want to get some sense of what the average interest rate is, and you want to start developing a budget for yourself. Can you make that payment? Can you make that payment if it includes taxes and insurance? How about special assessments or HOA fees? You want to work off of a worst case scenario when you're budgeting for a house so there aren't any surprises. What you don't want to do is put yourself in a position where it's difficult to get approved for a mortgage because your debt to income ratio is just way too high. So budget is very important. Number 2, down payment. So down payment is very important too, because most loans, if they don't have a down payment like a VA or USDA where it's 0% down, they still have closing costs. So you need to figure out where that money for closing costs is going to come from. And closing costs are things like attorney's fees and appraisals and title insurance and things like that. So you need to get some idea of what those costs might be, along with a down payment if your loan's going to require a down payment. And if you can afford those things, and you have to have acceptable source of down payment. So it can't just come from anybody or any source. You can't borrow the money. It can be gift funds from a relative. And if you want to dive into that, I could talk to you more about that. But number 3 is time on the job. So most loans require at least 2 years of continuous employment. If there's any significant job gaps in that 2-year history, you're going to have to explain why. If you're self-employed, typically they want 2 years tax returns so they can do an average of how much you claimed on the IRS forms that you made for the last 2 years, and that average will give them, they average that amount together to come up with an average monthly budget for you of what you're reasonably going to be able to prove that you're receiving so that you can make your payments. If you've been self-employed for 5 years and the most recent year was your best year yet, if you've been in the same company, same position for 5 years, self-employed, you can't go off 1 year's tax returns, but you still have to have that 5-year history. So time on the job is real important. Distance from work. If you're traveling 2 to 3 hours a day between your job and the home you're looking to buy, chances are the lender is going to question that. They may not even approve the loan based on the distance from the job. Now, I know a lot of people work remotely these days, so remote work is becoming more popular. If you can show something from your employer saying that you're going to continue to be able to work remotely and earn the same amount of income, then that might get you over that hurdle. But distance from work is going to be an important thing to consider. And then last is credit score. And the reason I put credit score last, a lot of people put a lot of importance on credit score. And listen, credit score is important, right? Because the higher your credit score, the better your interest rate's going to be. But the thing is, credit is so much easier to fix than all these other things I've listed. That should be really the least of your concern, unless you've got, bankruptcies and foreclosures, and maybe you've had a car repossessed and you've got lots and lots of collections on you, then maybe credit needs to be a little bit more important to you before you start looking for a job. But let your loan officer help you with that. They'll take a look at what's on your credit report. They might be able to make some recommendations for you. They might, like with my organization, I can send you to someone who specializes in credit counseling and save you hundreds of dollars a month so that we do it for free for our clients. If you want to know more about this list, again, let's repeat that list. Number 1 is budget. Number 2 is down payment. Number 3 is time on the job. Number 4 is going to be distance from the job to your house you're considering to buy. And then number 5 is credit score. If you need help with any of those things, please reach out to me. I'll be glad to help you in any way and give you more information about how these things work. God bless. Have a good day.